The Tadelakt plastering technique in wet areas is a skill set that requires practice and understanding to master. This series of tutorial videos is meant to be a broad overview of the methods used. We recommend testing and practicing all of the steps and techniques to ensure that you have an adequate understanding prior to starting a Tadelakt project. The Limestone Tadelakt Finish is applied in 4 successive coats, wet on wet. To achieve the correct thickness, the timing of application for these coats can vary, and it is up to the artisan to understand how to approach each unique project. Tools needed for Tadelakt mixing are 2 5-gallon buckets, a high-speed drill and mixing paddle, a 5-gallon paint strainer, a bucket scraper, Pigment, Limestone Tadelakt. 1 bag of Limestone Tadelakt requires 8 liters, or just over 2 gallons of water. Start with less water and add more as you go if needed to adjust the consistency. Always add the pigment to the mixed water before adding any plaster. In this video, we are using the color Adair from our Limestone Designer palette. Mix the pigment vigorously in the water for 1 minute. Pour the pigmented mix water through a 5-gallon paint strainer to avoid pigment bursting. The strainer will catch any unmixed clumps of pigment that may not dissolve in the water. Add about 1/3 of the bag at a time. Mix well and scrape any dry plaster off the sides and into the mix. Keep adding plaster and mixing until the bag is empty. If needed, add small amounts of water as you go to get to the right consistency. Once all of the plaster has been added and you have the desired consistency, mix at high speed for 3 full minutes to ensure a smooth mix. Clean any unmixed plaster from the side of the bucket. Tools needed for application are masking tape and a drop cloth to protect the floor, hawk and stainless steel trowel, bucket scoop, outside corner tool, sponge float, scraper. To ensure perfect edge details, it is recommended to remask between coats. Rather than have to redo your entire masking job, use a strip of 1-inch tape at the plaster interface. This edge tape will be removed and replaced between coats. When your base coat has dried completely, use a broad scraping knife to remove any high spots, ridges, or sand grains that may exist. Sandpaper can be used to detail outside corners. Using a semi-flexible stainless steel trowel, apply an even first coat of Limestone Tadelakt, about 1/16 of an inch thick. The moisture in this first coat of Tadelakt will be quickly drawn into the base coat. Work fast and maintain a wet edge. Any ridges or trowel lines in this first coat may show through in the finish, especially with darker colors. When the first coat has been applied, typically the second coat can begin immediately. The first coat should be firm on the wall but still have most of its moisture in it. Some areas of drying may be apparent. The second coat of Tadelakt is applied much the same as the first. Apply a generous amount of plaster, allow the wall to absorb the moisture, and then come back and remove any excess plaster. With each successive coat of Tadelakt, the base becomes less absorbent and dries slower. You'll have more working time on the second coat and want to try to achieve an even, flat surface. The third coat of Tadelakt should be applied when the second coat has firmed up but is still wet. You shouldn't be able to make a mark in it by dragging a finger across it, but can easily mark it with your fingernail. The third coat is the final chance to achieve an even and flat surface. Drying will be slower, so take your time to make this coat look as good as possible. The fourth and final coat is where the smooth, burnished finish begins to emerge. With this coat, the goal is to lay on plaster thick and take most of it back off as the base continues to absorb moisture. At this stage, the base should be near saturation and there should be ample working time. As the plaster is taken back off, a fine, creamy material is generated on the trowel that has less aggregate in it. To achieve perfect Tadelakt, it is essential to use this fine material to smooth the surface and bury any areas of grittiness or texture. Collect the fine material from the surface with a steeper trowel angle and then redistribute it back on the wall, making sure the wall is smooth and even before moving on. When you are satisfied with the finish, clean your tools and immediately begin smoothing the wall. Use a 30-degree trowel angle and firm pressure to remove rough spots and begin to slowly burnish the surface. At this stage, very little plaster should be coming off on your trowel. If you do generate a small amount of plaster, wipe it off onto a knife or a rag. For the second smoothing step, the wall will be more dry, but the surface will still be workable enough to be smoothed and burnished. Using a damp, green sponge float, apply a small amount of moisture to the trowel. This moisture will allow you to burnish the wall even further. For this final smoothing step, use your hand to gently feel for rough areas in the Tadelakt surface as you burnish. Oftentimes you can feel areas that are not smooth more easily than you can see them. For water-repellent surfaces, it is critical to achieve a completely smooth surface with no open texture. The Tadelakt for wet use process is not complete until at least 2 coats of our lime-strong soap have been applied and burnished into the fresh plaster surface. The stearic acid in the soap combines with the free calcium in the uncured lime plaster to create calcium stearate, a natural hydrophobic surface. Tools needed for soap are a 5-gallon bucket and roller screen, clean paint roller, a cut-in brush, a stainless steel trowel, lime-strong soap concentrate. For wet-use Tadelakt, the lime-strong soap concentrate should be mixed with water at a ratio of 1 part soap to 6 parts water. The timing of soap application is critical for wet-use Tadelakt. If applied too early, the soap can mix with the fresh plaster and leave cloudy soap scum staining on the surface. Too late, and the water-repellent reaction between soap and lime can be reduced. The plaster surface should be leather hard but still have all of its moisture in it. Look for the initial signs of drying as the color begins to lighten. Use a roller to apply the diluted soap mixture. Start at the bottom of the wall to avoid drips and roll the soap on in a random crosshatch pattern to avoid roller marks and lap lines. While the liquid soap is still wet on the surface, use a stainless steel trowel to burnish the soap in. When the timing is right, this combination of soap, lime, and burnishing creates a silky smooth water-repellent finish. Work in sections of about 5 square feet at a time, rolling on soap and burnishing before moving on. When you are done burnishing, there should be no liquid soap remaining on the wall. When the first application of soap has been completed, allow the wall to dry enough so that all of the soap has been absorbed. Apply a second coat of soap in the same way as the first. Use caution with the trowel at this late stage, as too much pressure can cause dark burn marks on the wall. Remove the masking and gently wipe the wall down with a soft cloth to remove any excess soap. For Tadelakt in wet use areas, we highly recommend protection with our Limestrong wax finish. The wax gives added water repellency and stain resistance to the surface. Tools needed for wax application: a small bucket, a small roller screen, a small foam roller, rags, Limestrong wax finish. Allow the Tadelakt to cure for a minimum of 5 days before wax application. Before applying the wax finish, ensure that the Tadelakt surface is completely clean and free of dust. Use a rag and diluted Limestrong soap to clean the wall. The best way to apply the wax is with a small foam roller used for fine finishing. Working in small areas, apply a generous coat of wax and immediately remove the excess with a non-abrasive, lint-free cloth. Take care to avoid streaks and thoroughly remove excess wax. Allow the first coat of wax to dry for 1 hour. Apply the second coat of wax in the same way as the first. When the wax begins to tack up, it can be buffed to a high shine with a soft cloth or mechanical buffer. For more information on Limestrong Tadelakt and all of our other finishes, please visit our website, limestrongartisan.com.